huge potential, great potential for our city, an exciting future. And I want to carry on working for our community. So I seek re-election on November 15th.
跟住司長話，本年嘅翻譯咧有1分鐘時間進行翻譯嘅，唔該。13年前我去競選市長嘅時候，我已經知道我擁有好多唔同嘅經驗，係好能夠幫到列治文城市。我嘅背景係一個律師，我亦都係嗰陣時已經做咗市議員5年啦。我亦都喺社區度做咗好多嘅義工，而且當時我當選到而家，我已經發覺我哋城市有好大嘅改變。我會繼續係希望咧保持我哋嘅城市嘅質素、生活質素。我會保持我哋嘅城市嘅稅率好低。我哋會用呢個發展得嚟嘅嗰啲嘅費用咧嚟支付我哋社區嘅改進同埋新建嘅項目。我哋唔會嘥錢咧去打官司㗎。如果嗰啲官司係冇機會贏，淨係益咗啲律師嘅啫。雖然我自己都係律師以前啊，同埋我哋慳到嘅錢咧，其實而家我哋冇加任何稅咧，仍然咧係做咗好多1億2千多萬嘅新嘅建設，我保持我哋係一個安全嘅社區。好，多謝晒，唔該晒。We are entering part 2。而家進入第2環節係政策提問時間嘅，每名候選人有最多2分鐘回答主持人提問，同之前一樣，第1分鐘係英文，第2分鐘係中文㗎。In part 2 question on major policy proposals, each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer question from the host. Again, all answers have to be provided in both Chinese and English. The first minute is English, the second minute is in Chinese. 咁啊，第一題㗎啦。你自問喺賭場收入咧每年都係上升㗎，咁你準備如何利用呢啲賭場嘅收益 ？The gaming revenue are going up year by year. What is your plan to spending those gaming revenue？ 嗱，按佢嘅次序咧，應該發言嘅第一個候選人咧係 Richard。Richard will be the first candidate to answer this question. Thank you.
I love to share with you what happened. The best use of the casino money happened about 3.5 months ago. A certain developer came to City Hall like they always do and asked, please, let me pay you an amount of money instead of me putting up the affordable housing units for you. Well, thank you to the current councillor who will not be running, Evelina Halsey-Brand. She was the only one, not the leader of council, not the mayor, not Mr. Brody. Evelina Halsey-Brand was the one who said, no, not so fast, we're not going to take the money, even though somebody tries to give it a reason that we need that money in order to put up that other affordable unit building. She said we could use the casino money to do exactly that, and only because election was around the corner, that was successful. The other incumbents dare not go against what you, the residents, are paying attention to.
Thank you, Richard. Richard. It's okay. Richard, you have 1 minute, 1分鐘。
Thank you for interrupting.
唔好意思啊，我哋please understand we will have time for the public to come up and ask questions to the candidate.
Yeah, and he's a friend of Mr. Brody.
If you have any questions,
are you saying because he's Caucasian, he's a friend of Mr. Brody? Come on, let's answer the question.
No. Well, if anyone in the public, Richard, 唔好意思，呢個 Richard, you have to stop. Richard, you have to stop. Will anyone have any question asking our candidate? You will have the chance to line up in the next in part 4. Like everyone will have a chance. Don't worry about it. Richard, 你而家用咗1分鐘時間用你嘅中文翻譯。唔該。
好，我同大家回憶下3個半月前有一個發展商，佢等於好多其他發展商，佢嚟我哋 City Hall 同我哋嘅市長同市議員講話，我俾錢你算啦，唔好要求我起嗰啲可負擔房屋嘅單位啦咁。但係好在當時第一市選將近。第二有一個市議員，佢亦都咁啱決定咗唔再選啦，佢就係 Evelina Halsey-Brand。佢第一個人企出嚟，唔係市長，佢話我哋唔好攞呢筆錢，我哋可以用賭場得翻嚟嘅錢咧，我哋就可以仍然要堅持呢個發展商要起嗰啲可負擔房屋俾我哋，等我哋老人家、低收入、貧苦家庭有地方可以租嚟住，可以住。我係絕對贊成呢樣嘢嘅，多謝。
好，唔該晒。 The next candidate to answer the question is Mr. Malcolm Bodie. Malcolm, you have 1 minute to answer the question. Malcolm Bodie 會有1分鐘英文、1分鐘中文嘅。Malcolm, thank you very much.
About a month ago, we made a referral to staff. We are now taking a look to see what our policy should be for the gaming money. And with the amount that we are getting, I think that we should look to affordable housing, to the arts group, and to the social groups to see whether we should apply more of that money to them. Now, if Mr. Lee had ever been to a council meeting, he would know that we don't try and take credit for good ideas. We work together, 9 people, there's no property and a good idea. And in fact, everybody had some part in the decision to use the gaming money for that affordable housing of the project, the Intercorp project on the river. With the gaming money, it's a great boon to the city of Richmond, and we will continue to use it wisely, but a lot of the money has to go to reserve so that we have money for a rainy day.
All right, thank you. 跟住係市長馬寶玲嘅翻譯，有1分鐘嘅時間翻譯翻做粵語嘅，唔該 ，thank you。大概1個月前咧，我哋係同市府嘅職員咧係開會，我哋係重新咧檢視咧我哋有關於呢個賭場嘅收入嘅政策。咁我哋知道咧，而家嘅賭場嘅收入咧係增加嘅話咧，主要係3方面。第一就係嗰啲嘅可負擔房屋，有一部分都會去俾咗呢個嘅皇家騎警，同埋咧係或者考慮咧增加俾嗰啲嘅社區嘅服務嘅資助。我哋咧，首先我想強調咧，喺市議會咧，如果李仁先生咧有嚟市議會嘅話，佢知道咧唔係一個人做決定㗎，我哋9位嘅市議員同埋市長咧係大家一齊咧係集思廣益㗎。我哋嘅決定咧係希望每一個人都有份參與嘅。最主要我同大家講就係呢啲嘅增加嘅收入咧，我哋會係好明智嘅咁樣使用，我哋唔會咧係隨便用呢啲賭場嘅收入，但係可負擔房屋肯定就係一方面。好多謝晒㗎。嗱喺未開始下一個人回答之前咧，係韋立峰先生回答，但要等一等。希望各位公眾企喺電梯口嗰啲咧，唔好阻礙走火通道，盡量坐低。May I have the one who is standing maybe blocking some of the entrance? Can you please sit down because maybe creating some hazard or horrible? If you can, please sit down. 如果可以嘅話，我哋盡量坐低，因為唔好阻住個商場嘅走廊，係唔係咁好嘅？好嘅，多謝大家。The next candidate to answer the question is Cliff Wade. Cliff, you have 1 minute to answer in English and 1 minute in Cantonese. Thank you.
I would consider the casino money as the alternative revenue for the city. So when we do the financial plan, I will put it in the priority as the income. And after that, we will put the rest cost onto our properties. So the council has approved a new 5-year financial plan with the increase of 3% each year of the property tax. That means after 10 years, the increase will be 34%. It's much more to the commercial business owners. So I will redo this financial plan, and I will stop the increase of any property tax. And we will find other resources of the financial income, and we will use strategies to attract business to this region.
All right, thank you very much. 跟住係韋先生嘅翻譯1分鐘時間。
我會用賭場收入去代替呢個地稅嘅收入。市議會通過嘅5年財務計劃書中，地稅將以每年3%嘅漲幅上漲，10年將會增幅至34%。對於商會嘅增長幅度更大，我將重新做財務規劃，首先停止地稅嘅上漲，再規劃開發其他市政府嘅來源，比如賭場收入或計劃中嘅客船碼頭出租收入、海上風力發電收入同其他招商引資嘅項目。將來嘅市政開支將首先從呢啲市政府嘅來源中支出，不足嘅部分再依靠地稅去補足。
好，唔該晒。好啦，下一題嘅問題啦。對於市中心交通擠塞嘅問題點解決咧？特別係第3路附近交通擠塞嘅問題，你乜嘢解決嘅計劃？ what is your plan to deal with the traffic congestion problem at the city centre, especially along number 3 road? 咁我哋頭先抽籤下一個候選人問翻個次序咧。The first one to answer will be Mr. Malcolm Bodie. Mr. Malcolm Bodie, you have 1 minute to answer in English and 1 minute in Chinese. Please.
For the past 20 years, we have had a plan where we would densify in the city center. We would take the population increase here in the city center, and we would leave the single-family neighborhoods and the farmland and the industrial land intact. So we expect to have a lot more people in the city center, and that means a lot more traffic. We have a plan that will add density to buildings the closer they are to the stations, the Canada Line stations. We will encourage fewer cars, more trips on the Canada Line, and also we're going to work with TransLink and the buses in order to have better bus routes, more buses, more routes throughout our city. So if we can have a very robust system of public transportation, less parking, I think we're going to go a long way along with the ring roads to make sure that we decongest the city center.
Thank you. 跟住市長馬寶定個翻譯係會用1分鐘時間做廣東話翻譯嘅。大概20年前咧，市政府咧已經有一個長遠嘅規劃，就係咧將我哋嘅人口咧嘅密度咧係擺喺市中心，讓到咧成個城市其他嘅單戶房屋地區同埋嗰啲農地咧係唔受到干擾。咁喺咁多年裏邊咧，呢個政策咧一直都係咁樣執行嘅。我哋而家見到市中心，我哋嘅規劃就係話越接近嗰啲嘅捷運嘅車站嘅地方咧，個嘅密度可以增加。而我哋覺得咁樣做咧，可以令到咧更加少人係用車嘅。我哋對於市中心交通嘅係擠塞咧，我哋係有個以下嘅計劃，就係同呢個 TransLink 咧係繼續合作，改善我哋嘅公車嘅系統同埋接駁，盡量利用呢個捷運嘅系統。如果我哋呢個能夠做得成功，同埋我哋亦都有一個叫做環迴嘅係馬路嘅系統咧，係正在進行中。如果呢啲能夠完成嘅話咧，就能夠解決到市中心個交通嘅情況啦。多謝。好，唔該晒。The next candidate to answer question is Steve Wei， 係尹立峰先生咧，請你回答。And 1 minute in English, 1 minute in Chinese. Thank you.
We built Canada Line on number 3 road. It occupied 2 lanes. So this is the direct reason of the number 3 road congestion. So for solution we will provide, we will connect the river road and the mineral road to use that to separate some part of the traffic. And it's not the fundamental reason of this congestion. The problem is the population density in that area is too high. And it is a decision made by the council 20 years ago. We will review that plan and stop the high-rise building constructions in this area.
加拿大線嘅建造佔據咗3號路嘅2條車道，係造成3號路擁擠嘅直接原因。我哋通過連接 River Road 同 Mineral 分流一部分3號路嘅行車壓力，但係城市擁擠嘅根本原因在於人口密度過高，所以我哋覺得一定要停止喺3號路1線嘅高層住宅興建係必須要做嘅事。
All right， 多謝晒。The next candidate to answer the question is Richard Lee。下一位回答嘅係候選人李日先生，唔該，1分鐘英文，1分鐘中文。
The nightmare that has been created at our river road near the Oval is a perfect example of a poorly planned growth. And the solution to that, one of the solutions is no more unreasonably low development cost charges given to developers. Our current mayor, Mr. Brody, would have you believe that the choice is only growth at any cost or decline, he politely said. What he's implying is growth at any cost or death to the residents. That is not the choice. You see, development and growth is good if it's good for the residents. And you are the residents, not the developers. Development and growth is bad if it's bad for the residents. We need a mayor who will stick up for the right of ordinary citizens and not slave to developers.
好多謝晒，唔該。跟住 Richard 會有1分鐘中文，唔該。
而家響 River Road 近我哋嘅 Oval 就係好明顯，最好嘅例子係點樣去錯誤咁樣去計劃，將一個人口稠密嘅地區嚟到再增加稠密，再增加稠密。我第一樣嘢提議要解決嘅，成為大家嘅市長，就係要提高發展商，佢要嚟做一個新發展呢，就要由佢嚟負擔，唔係由你納稅人嚟到負擔呢嗰啲需要嘅費用帶來嘅小學啦，呢個消防設備啦、醫院啦、圖書館啦，種種嘅，包括係一個好好嘅計劃咗出嚟嘅交通計劃。我哋需要嘅係一個市長係為納稅人服務，唔係一個市長去為發展商服務嘅。多謝。
Thank you very much. That concludes our part 2 of the forum. 跟住嚟第3部分嘅候選人互相提問嘅，所有發言包括問題同埋答案呢，都要係有英文同埋中文嘅。We entering the second part of cross debate between parties. All questions and answers must be in both Chinese and English. 每名候選人發問時間係30秒，用英文、廣東話30秒。之後對手有2分鐘回答問題。首先係英文，之後係廣東話，各1分鐘。For answering the question, it will be 30 seconds in English, 30 seconds in Cantonese. The opponent will have 2 minutes to answer the question, with 1 minute in English and another 1 minute in Cantonese. 喺對手回答之後咧，發問嘅一方會有另外1分鐘作出回應，包括30秒中文同埋30秒嘅英文嘅。The candidate who asked the question will have 1 minute to do rebuttal. It has to be in both Chinese and English too. 根據頭先我哋嘅抽籤次序咧，第1名候選人發問問題咧係 Cliff 韋立峰先生嘅。The first candidate to ask question to your opponent is Cliff. Mr. Wei, please pick your opponent and ask the question. Yeah, 30 seconds.
I will ask Mr. Brody, do we have a plan to reduce the property tax or not?
係問係温雲啊，已經要 finish the question 係。OK， 請翻譯有30秒㗎。
你想問我哋先生係咪想降低個地稅嘅？
The answer will be 1 minute in English, 1 minute in Chinese. So the question will direct to Mr. Malcolm Bodie. Malcolm Bodie will have time to answer the question, please.
In the city of Richmond, I can tell you every single year, we work very hard to keep the property taxes down. Unfortunately, the costs continue to rise. And so what we decided in a strategy a long time ago, the long-term financial management strategy says that we will keep the tax increase to no more than the cost of living increase, and we will take 1% and put it into reserves for a rainy day. Now, if the circumstances are justified, we will reduce that 1%, and we did that for a number of years after the crash of 2008. But I can tell you that putting money into the reserves is something very necessary for us. That's why we have $120 million, and we can take $70 million from reserves because we saved it. So we work on it every single year.
All right, thank you very much. 跟住馬寶定嘅翻譯會有1分鐘時間做廣東話嘅翻譯。
講到預算咧，我可以同大家講，每年市議會傾預算，我哋都好盡力，希望將嗰個預算係降低。好可惜，大家都知道生活嘅指數費用係不斷上升，於是市政府、市議會決定咗個長期嘅財務策略。就係我哋嘅加稅嘅幅度唔會超過生活水準嘅加幅。另外，我哋為咗要 未雨綢繆，我哋要撥出1% 擺落嗰個嘅預備儲備基金，呢個係好重要嘅，作為一個認真謹慎嘅理財嘅方面。當然喺情況許可話，我哋會將呢個1% 係取消嘅。事實上喺2008年開始有幾年咧，我哋都冇加到呢個1%，所以我就希望大家明白，我哋個計劃係一定係要用咁嘅方法嚟慳啲錢嘅。
多謝你，1分鐘時間咗啦，跟住咧，韋立峰先生都要have 30 seconds to give rebuttal in English and 30 in Cantonese.
Based on my review of the financial plan, I didn't find a specific reason for the city to raise 3% property tax each year. There is no reason for that. And it looks like the city just charged 3% more for the reserves. So I think there is a room for us to replan the financial.
韋先生嘅發言。
根據我哋喺市政府嘅財務報告入面睇到個內容，每年都會有3%嘅地稅上漲，而且係冇特別嘅原因，所以我係有計劃可以將呢部分嘅上漲取消咗佢。
多謝晒，唔該。好的 ，next one to ask question is Richard。下一位發問問題係 Richard Lee 㗎，李日先生有30秒時間用英文翻譯，30秒時間用中文重複㗎。Richard, thank you.
Mr. Brody, you say we cannot afford to fight the fuel jet proposal, and I disagree. I tell you, and I agree with Carol Day of Vapor. We cannot afford not to fight them in court, because if we don't fight it, we will lose for sure, and we're going to endanger the life and livelihood of residents, and we're going to endanger the strongest salmon run.
Okay, Richard, did you specify which candidate you want to ask the question to? I believe it's Malcolm Brody.
I confirm that it is Mr. Brody.
Mr. Brody. 跟住李日先生有30秒時間重複你嘅問題。
馬寶定先生，你剛才重複話我哋市政府唔能夠負擔去挑戰呢一個飛機燃油嘅計劃，喺我哋嘅區域內嘅 Fraser River， 我同你絕對冇同意嘅共通點。我哋係唔能夠唔去挑戰，我哋付唔起嗰個唔去挑戰嘅代價，因為嗰個代價就係列治文所有嘅居民佢哋嘅生活質素。
Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you. I believe Mr. Malcolm Brody have 1 minute to answer in English and 1 minute in Chinese. Thank you.
Mr. Lee can once again be forgiven because he's virtually never been to a city council meeting, so he doesn't know about these things. He says he wants to keep our taxes down. He wants to start an action, a lawsuit over the jet fuel line. Now, many matters that we have in Richmond involve other parties that we have no control over, whether it's transit, the highway, airport, the Fraser River, farmland. We deal with the province, the feds, the airport, the port, and transit, and they're all beyond city control. So if the legal advice says, don't do it, I ask the question, is the city supposed to gamble with your money, with residents' money, for some action that is simply going to help the lawyers in the group? Is that what you want? I don't think so, and I'm not going to put up for it.
跟住馬寶定嘅翻譯有1分鐘時間粵語翻譯 ，thank you。
李日先生咧都冇嚟過市會開會嘅，所以佢真係唔係好知道情況。阿李先生咧成日都話咧要減稅，但係咧佢又話咧要用納稅人嘅錢咧去打官司，要告呢一個嘅飛機燃油嘅管道嘅呢一個工程。其實市政府嘅好多事情，包括運輸、 飛機場、我哋嘅河流、我哋嘅陸地，都牽涉好多其他嘅政府部門同埋機構。如果而且市議會係冇辦法控制，如果我哋嘅市政府嘅法律顧問話冇得打呢啲官司，輸緊嘅，唔通市政府要用納稅人嘅錢去搏一下，去打呢啲官司冇贏面嘅，咪就係益咗嗰啲律師咯。大家想唔想市政府咁樣亂用你哋嘅納稅人嘅錢去打呢啲冇得贏嘅官司咧？
好，唔該晒。李日先生 Richard, you have 30 seconds to do rebuttal in Cantonese too.
I think Mr. Interpreter is giving a better speech than Mr. Brody. Well, you see, I have been a lawyer, practicing lawyer for the last 40 years. And a lawyer would never give you the advice, never go to court. A lawyer would always ask you, what is the most important thing to you? If the most important thing to you is the life and livelihood of the residents of Richmond, if the most important thing to you is the salmon run in Richmond, then you go fight it. That's
多謝 Richard, thank you very much. Richard, you have 30 seconds to do it in Cantonese. Thank you very much.
馬寶定現時今日同我哋話，個律師嘅 advice 話唔好去法庭，但係佢呢個答案已經變咗幾次㗎啦。佢第一次黑紙白字答呢個答案咧，佢就話：除非你有100%嘅贏嘅機會先至好去，所以我唔去。但係當我同佢咁樣指出呢個係假嘅，咁佢就變咯。佢就話：除非你有相當強嘅立場咧，就唔好去。
Richard, thank you very much. 我要提一提大家先啦，見到好多人你阻住咗啲通道同埋 lift 口啦，如果可以嘅話，盡量唔好阻礙商場嘅通道同埋 lift 口嘅安全嘅問題。May I have the people that standing at the corridor and probably raising a sign to step aside and not blocking the hallway and the entrance of the elevator where there's occupying the public space and we try not to do that. Thank you very much. 舉牌係 OK 嘅，不過你唔好阻住條路底嘅，同埋唔好阻住我哋嘅觀眾。另外咧，我哋稍後咧就會喺呢度開始咧，喺我台嘅右手邊呢度咧就會排咗俾公眾發問嘅。People can line up at the right side of the stage, and we have our colleagues here, but I don't know where he is right now. 咁我哋各位同事開始咧就會俾大家排隊發言嘅。咁係咪 David 呢位啦？係着住黑色 T-shirt 呢位，係啦。Our colleague here. Raise your hand, thank you. We will start lining up people for public questioning at the next session. So whoever interested in asking questions, please line up, and we'll go back to our candidate question period. The next one to ask questions is Mr. Malcolm Foley. Malcolm, 30 seconds, ask your question in English and 30 in Chinese. Thank you very much.
Richmond has always had some of the lowest property taxes in the region. And I'm asking this of Mr. Lee, of course. Mr. Lee says he wants to cut property taxes, and to do this, we are going to have to cut some services. So what I want to know is what city-provided services does Mr. Lee want to cut? And I'm looking for services that he uses. Secondly, I'd like to know why he's never been to a city council meeting, but he wants to be the mayor.
跟住Malcolm Bowley 嘅翻譯有30秒時間，唔該。
列治文喺呢個地區嘅地稅咧，都係算係低嘅行業裏邊。但係阿李生咧，阿李日先生咧就成日都話要減稅喎。我想問下李先生，如果佢要減稅嘅話，有啲乜嘢市政府嘅服務佢係要削減咧？而且我要強調就係、阿李先生而家用緊嘅咩嘅市政府服務，佢係會削減咩？同埋我想問下李先生，點解佢從來都未嚟市會開會，佢反而想做市長咧
？Thank you. The question directed to Mr. Richard Lee. Richard, 你有1分鐘時間，英語1分鐘中文唔該。
Lower taxes. That is not what only Mr. Lee wants. That is what residents of Richmond want, and that's what I've heard. If only Mr. Brody would listen. Well, he said, again, he keeps throwing up this, your choice is only A or B, when that is not so. He said, you either have the high taxes that he slapped on us, or you have cut in services. I say no. Already offer solutions. increase development cost charges, increase community amenity charges. Therefore, you don't have to touch cutting services and yet have lower taxation. And the main point of bringing about lower taxation is, there is this saying in Chinese, so I'll translate that into English first. Of course you have balanced budget. Of course you don't spend more than you take in. But there is a right to do that. You spend what you take in. You don't just keep putting money away, not when you are running the people's business.
Richard 多謝晒。Richard 跟住係可以做翻譯嘅，唔該。
馬寶迪先生咧，佢好多時有呢個習慣嘅。佢咧就成日對你講咧，就話你只可以選茶同咖啡嘅啫。咁啊，其實茶同咖啡都唔